Good afternoon, everybody, and a massive welcome to Timely Live this afternoon. This is Ding Ding Round 2. Last time we hosted this Fab Live, my Virgin Internet dropped out and we left our poor guest riding solo. So I've had a word with Richard Branson. He's assured me it's all looking good. So a quick recap, if you didn't catch the beginning of our last live with Samantha this afternoon. We're honoured to be sharing the screen with Samantha Growcup for the second time, of course, president of the Hair and Beauty Charity and MD of Essence PR. Sam joins us today to talk about the Hair and Beauty Charity, what they do, and the huge impact they're having for those in industry that are struggling right now. With wellness being a big part of our focus currently, financial wellness is extremely important for all of us now more than ever. With an increase of over 255% of help needed, they're working tirelessly to help those who are facing financial challenges be stable. The charity has been supporting those in industry since 1836, but the last year has proven the most challenging. So Sam's with me to talk about how they may be able to help you if you're in need, what they do and how you can apply, and what we can do to support the charity too. Massive thank you, Sam, for joining me again and finding the time to come back after my annoying internet decided to crash. Now I'm going to make sure we're live so I can see the comments and we are all running smoothly. So
wonderful. Well, thank you very much for that wonderful introduction, Holly. I feel like you've actually just told everybody that I need to talk about. So let's just finish now. It's like 5 past.
Go and get some lunch and a glass of wine.
Yeah, no, it's you know, it's this year, and I think, you know, and I'm so pleased I'm speaking to you that we know that there's, you know, the English salons and the Welsh salons have gone back. We know that Ireland is going back this week. We know that Scotland is opening on Monday. And I just feel really pleased that we've had some big changes happening, even since our conversation that we had a couple of weeks ago, and especially since the new year. However, we know that there are still people out there suffering, and we know there's people who can't work. You know, in Scotland, you're not able to do any sort of treatments on the face if you're wearing masks. So that means anybody that's doing any sort of makeup, any sort of treatments, whether it's sort of facial treatments, waxing and so forth, it's very difficult. So we know there's still a lot of work that needs to be done, and a lot of our industry bodies are really supporting and really talking to the government to be able to do that. And I think as a charity, you know, we try to sort of kind of step back and let the industry bodies, you know, the NHBFs and the Hair and Barber Council, BABTAC, British Beauty Council, let them do what they need to be doing, because for us as a charity, we need to help the individuals that need help. And I think people haven't quite understood what we do. And as you quite rightly said, we've been going since 1836. Obviously, I've not been involved that long, not many of us. but I have worked for the charity for a good sort of 14, 15 years or so. And then the last 3-4 years, I've actually been the president of the charity. So I was co-president of the charity for the first 2 years. And then 2020, I decided, oh, I've done it as a joint for 2 years. I'll be fine in 2020. I'll take it on. Don't worry, for another year on my own. I'll just do one more year just to sort of ease us into 2021. And of course, as we all know, 2020 did not go to plan. And as a charity, like many charities in the UK, obviously we've been hugely affected by what's happened, because our ability to talk to people, our ability to fundraise and to help people was really sort of changed. But interestingly, I think in all my years of knowing and working with the charity, we've always had constant conversations all the time. Everyone always says to me, but Sam, but what is it you really do? Why do you need a charity? Why, you know, we're all doing well. Our industry's fine. We don't need a charity. And I kind of agree. You know, my family work in the industry as well. My sister's a hairdresser and my brother's a barber. So, and I've been in the industry for nearly 30 years. So I kind of know the sort of both sides of the industry. And I think what people found really hard to understand was that a charity was needed to help people, like our hair and beauty professionals in needed financial need. But when February, March last year kicked in, and suddenly everybody had to stop working, suddenly no money was coming in, there was no idea of when it was going to be happening again. Then when we did come back in June, and then basically beauty wasn't allowed back in until sort of nearly August time. This is when the charity really started to resonate with a lot of our industry, because they realized that not only have we been helping people through sickness, through domestic violence, homelessness, you know, kind of disabilities, all of this, which we've been doing as a core charity since 1836, suddenly people who would never, ever, Holly, have wanted a charity or even needed to speak to a charity were getting in touch with us. And that's where how we became a lifeline in 2020 for our industry.
It's funny, isn't it? With so many charities, we don't understand how incredibly important they are until we're affected by something that requires us to reach out. Now, as you said,
Yes.
you've been going since 1836. How was the charity founded? What was the sort of original goal of the charity?
Yeah, so actually it was called the Hairdressers Orphan Fund. So I think that just sums up our industry, that even then, and interestingly, you know, we've heard that we were one of the first ever benevolent or friendly societies, potentially even charities, that was ever created in the UK. So the fact that our industry does show you how wonderful and giving and positive we are as an industry, that actually we were one of the first people to create, you know, a kind of a charitable giving company. We were a friendly society for many, many years. We actually only went into charitable status about, I think about 4 or 5 years ago, no, probably about 5 or 6 years ago. So as a charity, we've actually been quite new, but before that we were a friendly society or benevolent on that side, which is still very similar. It's just that you maybe don't get the tax breaks that charities get. So obviously for now we're sort of recognised as a charitable arm, so we're able to sort of claim the sort of the gift aid and various things like that. So I just think it's quite interesting that, you know, in those days, 1836, so we were already thinking about, you know, children and people who were within our industry and helping those children. The head office team, in their offices, they have these beautiful books, like big tomes, where they were all handwritten of all the minutes of all the money that was given out during that time. So, and that's why, because interestingly, we thought that we were actually going since 1853. We've known that for years. But actually, Jean, who is the head of the charity, she found some paperwork in a book that was actually 1836. So we've actually, you know, we're almost 20 years older than we realised, and we only realised that probably 2 years ago. So all the way through the years, this is what it's been about. And I think a lot of, say, maybe timely customers might recognise the charity over the years, because we used to be called the Hair and Beauty Benevolent, or have, a lot of people used to call us. So that was probably in maybe the 80s or so. And I think that was, a lot of people still refer to us as that. And we've had a couple of name changes over the years, but the Hair and Beauty Charity says exactly what we are. It is what we do. And ultimately we help people with financial, who have financial hardship. So we give people money so that they can, you know, buy food, they can dress their children, they can buy some furniture and just, you know, live basically. And I think, you know, even before COVID, which I think a lot of people aren't aware of in our industry, is, you know, people have been going to food banks in our industry for quite a long time now. You know, and it's through no fault of their own. It could just be all sorts of just circumstances and things like that. But I think, you know, and also I've noticed that over the years, you know, there's been a huge increase in homelessness that we're helping, but also with domestic violence, which also is something that, you know, is an area, and I think that's something that's really come to light through COVID. But actually, we've noticed it more as a charity anyway, ourselves. So I just think, you know, there isn't necessarily a person that set it up that we know about. It was just an organisation, and since 1836, everyone's been involved with it. But the key thing is, you know, the committee were all volunteers. You know, we have 2 paid staff members, which is Jean and Natalie. Jean looks after the head of the charity and how we work and what we do, and works exceptionally hard. And then we have Natalie, who again works full-time with us, and she looks after all the beneficiaries and obviously helps with Jean and the team with everything that we need to do as well. But Natalie's, you know, day to day talking to beneficiaries and really sort of getting to know them and what they need and so forth. So as a charity, we're very small, so 2 people actually work full-time. The rest of the committee, when we have around about 18-20 people made up of, you know, manufacturers, PRs, the media, therapists, hairdressers. who kind of come to the committee and sort of help with us to fundraise and awareness, and obviously and some money for us as well, try and bring the money in.
Well, that's what you need, isn't it? And it's so right what you say, you know, you go back to 1836 when this all started, and there was already the mindset of the giving culture that we've harnessed within our industry so strongly. And over that 200 years almost, the most challenging year, you sat at the forefront of the business and had to lead it forward, which is incredible. A massive kudos to you, what you've achieved and how you've, you know, navigated this storm, looking after people. There's been a huge increase. I think it was 255%. Is that right, in the required charity?
That was in because in 2020, you know, we very quickly realised that things were going to, you know, we needed to amplify what we're doing, because we knew that suddenly all our fundraising had been cut, all our event networking had been cut. So we started a relief fund in March, and I thought, right, we'll try and get 10 grand or something. I think we've managed to get about 35,000 through that. We also were very fortunate that the wonderful person Caroline Hirand had got wind of the charity and had decided that actually she really wanted to do something for the industry. She's such a wonderful person anyway, and she really wanted to sort of give back and do something. So she created something called the Beauty Backed, which then was a great fundraising for us. And she raised in something like, I think 4 months, £600,000 for charity. So that money was basically a lifeline for us. We've actually, we normally would spend about 170,000 a year on giving money to people that need it. We basically spent that equivalent amount of money in the first, say, 3-4 months of the lockdown. We've actually probably spent over 350,000 in less than a year. So that money that Caroline raised for us, that 600,000, really did make a big difference. And the money that we're still using, even from January to February, the increase that we gave out was something, it was hundreds of thousands of pounds. So we suddenly, yes, it was great, we've had this money, but we realized that money, and Caroline's been very sweet with it, saying yes, this needs to last us, because actually we know for the next year or two we're going to be in the same situation. People don't have money at the moment to be giving to charities. So all this wonderful money that was donated to us through Caroline's Beauty Backed, actually, that 600,000, as I said, half of it's gone already. So half of it's gone already, and the other half actually we're already starting to use on that side, because obviously we get some great support from the industry and from the manufacturers who do support us and donate money and give us lots of money on that side. But this is, the people, as the charity is now growing, more people are hearing about us, so obviously more people are coming to us. So it's almost like a little bit of I can't think of the word, but it's sort of, because we've been pushed into the limelight, we've realized more people need help. So we need to give them more money, but obviously we need to raise more money to give them more money. So it's a chicken and egg situation all the time. So, great that, we were very fortunate we got that money, and it basically was a lifeline for us. But actually at the same time, as a charity, we've been going 180 odd years. We will continue going. And this is just one moment in our time. So we have to be really focused on the next 5 years, on the next 10 years, and how are we going to support the people that we help every single month? And that's where we are. This is not a short-term fix. COVID was, we hope this is kind of slowing down. But what we've also realized with COVID is that it's going to take time for people to earn the money that they were earning prior to this. So yes, salons are opening. Yes, people are back to work, but is the footfall going to be the same? Is the ability to earn the money going to be the same for a while? People have been in debt. People have got into all sorts of trouble. It's going to take a good 6 months, maybe a year on that side. So all those people who maybe we might have been helping, we thought we were only going to help for 3 months, we're actually been helping for a year. We might even need to keep helping them for another 6 months. Hopefully we won't have to keep doing that. But at the same time, more people know about us. So when they are ill, when they have got a disability, when they are homeless, when they have got issues with domestic violence and they maybe don't have anywhere to go, they know the charity exists now. So actually the beneficiaries that we've been helping are going to keep increasing, because the profile of the charity has been pushed out there in the last year. So it's been a real roller coaster as a charity.
I can imagine, because you still have all these things that have been a problem for most people previously, you know, with domestic violence and having to go to food banks, and that's just been amplified, hasn't it, via COVID. So you've got to look after those people still and beyond. And as you say, this recovery period over the next 6 months, a year, you know, there's going to be an impact of being closed. There's going to be an impact of debt. There's going to be an impact of a change in business, a change in mindset, a change in your custom, a change in your pricing, a change in your suppliers and what they're charging. And that will impact what people need from you. And you were saying as well, obviously what Caroline Hirons has done through Beauty Backed has been a lifeline for you, but let's not dismiss the fact that you are providing a lifeline for so many people, because this is the difference between having a roof over your head or not, isn't it? In many cases, it is that level that you're helping people.
Yeah, and you know, interestingly, you know, from sort of like case studies, you know, we've been helping us. There was, you know, there's even people now who, a young girl who was pregnant and basically was sofa surfing. You know, she had a baby and she actually is still sofa surfing now because she hasn't actually been able to go back to work. So she contacted us in the summer for some support. We actually said, yes, what we're going to do is we even spoke to the estate agents to help with the landlord so that we could maybe pay, you know, her deposit, that we could be guarantors, just because, you know, you're young, you're pregnant, you're alone, and you're sofa surfing. That just shouldn't happen in our day and age at all. It shouldn't be happening in our industry. But you know what? She still is in a very similar situation because, of course, she hasn't been able to work for 9 months. Not only is she, like, obviously maternity, but again, so it's all this kind of, you know, difficulty that, you know, people wouldn't be in those situations in any other times. You know, we've had some very sort of sad, tragic stories of people who have worked so hard and had such brilliant businesses. And of course, it's just disappeared. So they might be earning, you know, a few grand a month. Suddenly they're not even earning anything. And of course, we had also last year, Holly, the issue with the self-employed. So the fact that so many people had fallen through the cracks prior to COVID, but then, you know, interestingly in our industry, there was a lot of people that were made self-employed in June. When they came back, their contracts were changed. And suddenly they wouldn't be able to get furlough when it happened in November and it didn't happen in January. So there's this whole other section of people who may have got furlough at March to June time or March to August time, actually didn't get it the second or the third time round. So again, you know, it's that constant thought of, like, you know, trying to plan, you know, and people didn't we were told that we weren't going to go into another lockdown again. We were told that. So people, you know, probably didn't maybe save as much money as they thought they needed to and things like that. So yeah, it's been a real hardship. And I, you know, and as I said, I'm so pleased when I see you know, the industry bodies putting out there that, you know, things are opening up and they're there for us. But I also know from what I've dealt with in the last year, over the last year now, this is, you know, there's still a lot of things bubbling away underneath that's going to probably kind of come to light soon.
Absolutely. And this is obviously what you guys are so focused on and helping everybody with.
Yeah.
So for the sake of anybody who's watching this and they're thinking, I'm struggling at the moment, tell us a little bit about who would qualify for your help and your support and how it works. So they, you know, obviously I love that this exists so that people are going through these very specific circumstances. They know they will be supported. They know they've somebody they can reach out to. They're not going to be judged. And that applies whether it's just financial or if it's, you know, difficulties in your home. And if you say, you know, violence or you're alone during pregnancy, these are really emotional things as well that people deal with. It's not just always financial, is it? But sometimes that financial aid can help you get into
so for us, it's very much about the financial. We tend to hear about these case studies because they need the money. Quite often we are it comes to us through third parties. So it might be that we'll be contacted by a charity that maybe looks after domestic violence, and they will come to us. Or again, homelessness, quite often it will be like, a trust will come to us because of about homelessness. So quite often we're dealing with almost like a third person, and they're acting on behalf of those people. Other times they've come to us directly, and obviously you build a rapport with them. We've got some wonderful people that we've helped over the years on that side. So as a charity, as I said, we're quite unique in the sense that we cover all spectrums of help that people need, as long as they work in our industry. That's the key thing. So, are they professional hairdresser, are they professional makeup artist, are they professional therapist, barber? So that's who we help. We also, we do have a kind of guidelines that we will expect people to have sort of been in the industry for, maybe 3 years or so. We have actually, during COVID, we've been able to sort of like loosen a few of the guidelines, just because we realise that there's people, as I said, if you're going to food bank, if you cannot buy your children clothes, if you cannot feed yourself, and you've been in the industry 2.5 years or 2 years, we're going to look at you on a case-by-case basis, because at the end of the day you need help. So we're not going to not look to help you in that case. The thing with the charity is, you come to us because you have nowhere else to go. The government aren't supporting you, the businesses aren't supporting you, your family aren't able to support you, so you come to the charity. So we have to be quite strict sometimes, and we do ask for things like bank account statements. I just want to make sure that your timely people know that all of this is done confidentially and anonymously. The only people that are aware of who you are the 2 people in the head office. When it comes to the committee, which is myself and the wider team, we study 1, case study 2, case study 3. And that's it, sort of thing. But what we do look at is things like your bank accounts and so forth. So, if you have savings, it's a horrible thing to say. Do you know what? We can't help you yet, on that side. So we've had to sort of put a limit on people. So, we have, if you have more than £500 in your bank account at the end of each month, you don't need us yet. And we hope you won't need us at all. But actually, the people that we're helping don't have £500 in their bank accounts at the end of the month. They don't have their negative money. They might have £2 left over at the end of the month. So these are the people, these people really do need our help. And also, just to sort of reiterate, for us, we help people on their personal side. We're not there to able to help on their business. So with businesses, we always say to people, speak to your industry body, speak to, the local council, speak to, somebody that can help on that side of things. Interestingly, Caroline and her team of great friends have just created, they've moved the Beauty Back to the Beauty Back Trust, where they are going to be helping more people with work or products or sort of coaching and mentoring and all these wonderful things, which is going to be more kind of educational and business focused. So they're sort of, that's what they're moving their sort of the trust into doing, which works really well, good synergy for us, because there's people that come to us where we realise we can't help them because it doesn't fit our criteria, but actually we know that it's going to work really well with the Beauty Back Trust. And again, from their side, they know that people will need some money, they're passing them to us. So we've got this great relationship going, that we're sort of helping each other on that side, because at the end of the day, the Beauty Back has really helped our charity in the last year. So we're there to sort of make sure that we give the money to people who need it as often as we can. So, so on our website, which you can go to, which is hairandbeautycharity.org, we have an online form. You can just basically go online. It tells you exactly what's needed. It does outline, again, how we help, who we help, what you need, and so forth. And we've tried to make it as simple as possible, because it's still quite a detailed form. I don't want to take that away, but at the end of the day, we are, we have to be able to sort of say to our supporters and our fundraisers and the people who donate to us what we're doing and how we're working with their money. So our forms are quite detailed, but I just want to reiterate that the people that see that are literally 2 people, and that's it on that side. So I think, but we're basically, I say to people, if you don't tick the criteria, still contact us, pick up the phone, speak to Natalie, explain your situation, because quite often we still might be able to help you. So I always think just ask the question. If you're desperate, you're desperate.
Yeah, reach out. Of course, by having this intention and having these sort of these tick boxes in place allows you the opportunity to make sure you're truly helping those that really need it, and the money is there for those that really need it.
Yeah, exactly.
So, question which I wonder some people may be thinking, if you were to help somebody out financially, do they have to pay that money back?
Yeah, no, interesting. Yes, that's a question I get asked actually, and I think because Holly, I've been involved for so long, those questions I've kind of forgotten about. But no, it's not a loan, it's not a grant. So again, there was people thinking that, you know, the money was, we had to give it to them, you know, sort of thing, it's being raised and you must give it out. And we're like, no, we're a charity. We have to sort of manage where the money is being used and how it's being used. But the money does go to all the beneficiaries. It doesn't go to sort of the charity or anything like that. All the money that we raise, 100% of it does go to the beneficiaries on that side. So we're very sort of unique in it as a charity when how we've been set up on that side. But I think I've lost my tangent.
Well, I'll chuck another question your way then, Sam.
Another question, yeah.
How can those of us that have been more fortunate in the last sort of 12 months and have ridden this out in the most positive way that they can, what can we do to help? How can we support the charity?
Yeah, actually, and do you know what, that's lovely to ask, because, you know, there have been people who I know have done financially okay out of this. So there's some wonderful things, you know, in a normal world, we do great fundraising activities. We do sort of like bike rides, golf days, events and so forth, and people can just donate there and then. Myself, I donate every month through Just Giving. So again, we have the Just Giving page that people can just donate through to that, or you can just donate straight to the charity. On that side, in salons, again, when they're open, they used to do some wonderful fundraising. People would have like a purple day and do bake sales and things like that, or tip day and just give a lot of tips for the day. You know, for me, you know, we used to say something like, you know, if everybody in our industry gave us £1, we would hit our target over and over again, because we actually, as a charity, as I said, we ideally need to be raising at least £170,000 a year. This was pre-COVID. You know, I wanted to raise 200,000. Obviously, with Caroline and her team's help, we smashed that last year. But I know that this year it's done this again, because, you know, there's nothing open. But we've got some, you know, some great little fundraisers in the pipeline. I think I was telling you, Holly, about this last time, that I'm actually just finishing off. We've been, whilst we've been in lockdown this time round, I've been speaking to lots of wonderful hair, barber, beauticians, nail techs and makeup artists to give me their favorite recipes, and we've done a cookbook. So I'm in the final edit of it. It's been a real labor of love for the last 2.5 months. It's kept me busy, even though I've been very busy anyway, but I'm almost there. We're at the stages where Jean has kind of gone through and helped edit it for me, and our designer's just making a few changes. So probably in the next couple of weeks or so, that's going to be launched. So that's a really simple way that timely customers could maybe support me by downloading it and donating for the charity for this cookbook, and everything like that. But obviously, Holly, I'll tell you all about it so that timely, and obviously your customers as well can then basically get behind it and download these cookbooks. So, but you know, people, even if people don't have the money, the easiest thing I want people to do, Holly, is to know we exist. So keep talking about this. Put something on social media. You know, we've got the HP charity Instagram and Facebook as well, so people can follow us on that. That's really helpful. And just keep talking about us, because that's the interesting thing. I think, you know, a positive of what's come out with all this social media is, before this kind of happened, you would never have got me on social media doing a talk anyway, for starters. That would have been a no-no. I'm a PR, I go behind the scene, I don't do front of scene. But before, we would wait till we went to maybe Salon International or Pro Beauty shows or Hair UK shows or Beauty UK shows. We waited to go to exhibitions. Occasionally, we might have been invited to do a sales talk or something like that. But we didn't really reach a huge amount of people. Whereas suddenly this year, in the last year or so, I've been doing so many Instagram lives, so many Facebooks and Zooms, that the reach to the charity has got thousands and thousands more people than we would never ever have used before. So I've realized that actually, you know, even with my PR head on, I didn't really put two and two together. That actually this is a really great way to share to people what it is we do. You know, and as you say, even with like now, you know, there might not be a huge amount of people being able to watch us doing this talk now at 1 o'clock in the afternoon because they'll be working. But we know that they're going to log on after work, they're going to log on at the weekend, they're going to watch it, they're going to share it, they're going to talk about it. So suddenly, you know, the viewership goes huge on social media. So that for me, I think, is the awareness of the charity is still really, really key, because as I said, we're moving into a new sort of style or new stage of the charity now, because our awareness has grown. We know that people won't need the help that they needed as much. So, but what we need to do is still keep that awareness of what we do, so that people don't forget that we're there for them. You know, so as I said, and it's, you know, cancer is something that affects us a lot, and we will often help a lot of people in that 1 year period when they're not able to work and they're going through treatments and maybe can't even, you know, get to the hospital. You know, the sick pay, they're on the sort of the basic sick pay. Suddenly they've got all these bills coming in. So again, quite often we will help somebody just for that short period of time whilst they need it, and then they're back to work again after a year. So as we say, we never quite know what's going to happen to us, really.
And I think it's just so reassuring for our industry to know that you're here and the incredible work you're doing. So just to recap for anybody who's watching back, they are available always for you to reach out to them. Timely have kindly shared the link in the comments as well, so you can read all about it there. You can find out what they're doing, and you can apply if you are looking for some help. It's all highly confidential, and they're there to help you if you need it. But beyond that, if you're in a position where you're able to donate, then you can do that through their website as well. And of course, if you're unable to donate but you'd like to support the charity, then sharing this video far and wide, posting about it on social media, sharing their posts on Instagram, whatever you can do is all going to help spread the word of this incredible charity. And Sam, you say a year ago you wouldn't even get on screen. I think we can all agree that you're a fabulous presence on screen, and it's an absolute joy to have you here and be able to. So thank you so much for your time. We've gone over already, and I feel like we could have talked for hours and hours more. But also, when that book comes out, I believe it's an ebook, isn't it, Sam?
It's going to be an ebook, yeah. So you can look at your tablet, on your phone, in the kitchen, on your laptop. So yeah, so it would be an ebook, and it's brilliant. We have got the most amazing people, and the food they've been cooking. And I'm not even a cook. Yeah, so.
Definitely be investing in a copy of this, because I'd already checked with you. Are there any plant-based recipes in there? And there are. So there's a real variety of wonderful food, but also it helps to connect to our industry further, and it's doing great for charity. So an all-round wonderful thing to do. So Sam, thank you so much for joining us today. I really appreciate your time, and thank you for showing up again after my internet crashed this last time.
No, my pleasure. Thank you, Timely, and thank you, Holly.
You're very, very welcome. Thanks everybody for joining us. Have a wonderful rest of your Thursday. Bye.